Good evening, everyone. I am Shruvi Pandey, Secretary of the IEEE Student Branch, and I welcome you to the day 4 of the webinar series Extra Techie, brought to you by Shivaji Rao Jodle College of Engineering and its IEEE Student Branch. We all know that knowledge has a beginning, but no end. Because even in this pandemic, the thirst for knowledge isn't quenched. In fact, it has only grown more. Students, teachers, professionals, everybody has come together to help each other gain more knowledge, learn new skills, and grow. This time has made us use the technology to its best, and I'm sure each one of us feels extremely grateful to be able to learn more every day. We at IEEE Student Branch of Shivaji Rao Jodle College of Engineering are very happy to have an opportunity to facilitate a webinar series like this. We have always strived hard to learn something new and exciting and make it reach to as many students as possible. Today's topic is nothing less than exciting. And for this, we have with us a very highly experienced professional, Mr. Bharat Verma. He has completed his bachelor's in engineering from Amravati University. He has worked at a senior positions of many coveted companies such as IBM, Nokia, American Express, Cisco, and many more. He is currently the Director of Digital Process Automation at Infosys. Welcome, sir. It is our privilege to have you with us today. We look forward to your session, and the screen is all yours.
Thanks, Shruvi and team for giving me this opportunity to present digital process automation. We are in the COVID world, and typical digital disruption in COVID world goes like this. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me? Your voice is breaking. Looks like you dropped off. We face this all the times since the time we have started working from home. It's fun. So now that we have spoken about digital disruption, let me jump into our agenda. Uh, so we'll cover what is DPA. Then I will explain why is it relevant for you. Then we'll talk about few case studies, and then we'll have a question and answer session. So as Uttara ma'am said, I have around 20 years of experience. I have worked in United States, Europe, and Australia. And when it comes to various industries, I was very fortunate to work in industries like telco, financial services, public sector, utilities, and services clients like PwC and Deloitte. So we'll cover what is DPA. Uh, then I will explain why is it relevant for you. Then we'll talk about few case studies, and then we'll have a question and answer session. I'm really excited to have this opportunity to interact with all the students today. The last time I interacted with students was back in 2008. I had a great time, but I was not among them. I was calling in from USA on India's Republic Day because one of my friends with whom I was talking after like 20 years of gap, he was a teacher and he thought that someone calling in his students from United States and sharing his experience about reaching there from a small village in Maharashtra would be a great opportunity for his students. The smart kids gathered around the Nokia phone that my friend had, and I spoke to them over phone. I couldn't see them. I couldn't uh, share my picture with them. The world wasn't digitized at that time. Cut to 12 years later, we have our digital heroes to help us not only connect with each other better, but also automate our work, right? So let's see how these heroes are making our life simple, helping us uh, become better professionals, helping us become better citizens, so on and so forth. So what is digital process automation really? So DPA refers to use of digital technology to perform a process or processes in order to accomplish a function. a wide variety of business processes and activities can be automated, or more often they can be partially automated with human intervention. What I mean by that is there will be a digital process running, and if there is a point in that process, in that journey, where human intelligence, right, uh, will be more useful, then the control is given to human to perform that step, and then give it back to a digital process. DPA is essentially a concept, right? It is not a technology by itself. And behind the scene, there are various components like business process management, robotic process automation, and AI and machine learning technologies we keep on hearing about. So this is how digital process automation evolved over the time. It all started in mid 80s, where imaging and document management was applied to automate various programs. Um, then came BPM, business process management. It ruled the world from mid 90s to till 2015. It started with various process life cycle management suites like Appian, like Pega, like Savion, right? It essentially was based on BPM discipline. It leveraged Lean and Six Sigma heavily. Then starting 2015, we got into DPA era. So that's when the things like robotic process automation, AI, natural language processing, NLP, and machine learning came into the picture. On previous slide, we spoke about how it all started with workflow. So even with advanced digital process automation, workflows are still around. And as you can see on the left hand side of the slide, ranging from free workflows to embedded workflow, to having straight through processing under BPM pillar, having low code tools like Appian. When I say low code tool, it means that we don't have, a developer doesn't have to write millions of code, millions of lines of code. A developer has to just configure application, and behind the scene, this application, this tool will generate code. Most of these tools are written in either Java or .NET, but when it comes to configuring these tools, developers don't have to worry about using Java or .NET technologies. They can use this model-driven development environment and just drag and drop various features. And when it comes to DPA, right? Again, I mean, we continue to leverage, various features from BPM, and we also take care of advanced features like AI, like ML. So, what are the benefits of DPA? As you can see right there at the top is the customer satisfaction. The main reason we build applications is to ensure that the customers who are going to use these applications directly or indirectly, uh, they they get satisfaction out of it, right? They don't get frustrated because of the processes or the UI that they have to deal with. Then comes increased efficiency, um, increased productivity, higher accuracy, the scalability, uh, so on and so forth. Also important is regulatory. As you might know, lately the way government functions, the way government interacts with citizens, with various organizations, has changed. There are so many regulatory compliance measures which governments are publishing day in and day out, and it's important for any organization that they comply with all these regulations. So DPA really helps to ensure that. Then comes improved data analytics. The one of the most important thing any DPA tool offers is providing insights, not only from just report perspective, but insights into live processes. We can clearly see how processes are going from one stage to another stage, and the users of this processes or actor of these processes are also always notified about the current stage of that process. Coming down to technologies that help us to implement this concept called as digital process automation, there are n number of technologies. Every month we see new company coming to the picture, right, and saying that I am the next big TPA tech. But if you look at this chart that Forrester publishes, we can see that Pega system is right there at the top, along with other technologies like Appian, IBM Digital Business Automation, Bizaji, OpenText, so on and so forth. On the right hand side, you can look at various parameters that Forrester uses to evaluate these technologies. So right from functional and app development capability, where Pega scores really high, uh, to various other things like commercial model, the revenue these technologies are generating, or this platform are generating, uh, to number of enterprise customers, right? All of these technologies are using. When I say enterprise customers, I'm talking about the number of users, right? Any customer of this technology will be having. The next thing I want to explain you guys is the logical architecture of any DPA technology. This is just a sample, but most of the digital technologies will be based on these concepts. So at the bottom we see low code development environment. Um, Essentially the environment that can be used by developer to configure functionalities rather than writing it line by line. Sounds very exciting, but I keep on joking that low, that is LOW in low code means lot of work. So even though it's a configurable environment, developers have to still do a lot of things that keep all the developers busy, and keep coming to companies like Infosys, Wipro, and TCS of this world. Then comes data access layer. The DPA technology ensures that there is a transparency, governance, and compliance built within data access layer. And various protocols are used for accessing data from various sources. So right from REST protocol to JDBC protocol, to the protocol that supports file movement from one system to another system, are covered out of the box. Developers don't have to spend much time for building these connections. Then comes business process management. So essentially, the processes, the tasks, the automated routing of one task to user, and then moving that task to some other user. So all those things will fall under business process management. Then comes your robotic automation. So you have built great process. It is already automated in the sense that any end user can go from one stage to another stage of this process by entering data. But why should human work on these steps if a robot can? And that's where your robotic process automation comes into picture. It usually sits on the top of your business process management, and wherever human intelligence is not required, robots can perform those tasks. Then comes the brain of this solution. We In some technologies like Pega, it is called as a decision hub. So depending on the profile of user, depending on that user's previous interaction, right, with the company, with company's partner, a next best action will be recommended. It can be in the form of a new telco offer, right? If I am a student, and the only thing I use my Geo connection is for texting, then Geo may recommend me a package, right, that provides me more text rather than providing me more data, things like that. And right at the top we can see various channels through which we can work with these processes implemented under DPA. So right from your standard web channel to chat to mobile to email to mashup to API, all these channels are available, and requests can be sent to this platform through various channels. Yesterday, I think someone gave a session on how Alexa can be utilized for building a conversational UI. So these DPA technologies can also integrate with these various chatbots, right? Various technologies like Alexa, like Google Assistant, and accept requests, through these interfaces. So really exciting world. No more we have to type or click on mouse to clarify our intent. We can simply use your great voice. So amazing piece of technology. So just elaborating on what I covered before, you can see on screen various technologies, or the components that will be utilized. So right from case management, to SLA, service level agreements, to process modeling, to rules management, to user interface design, to predictive and adaptive analytic under AI, to text, speech, and OCR, to low code app development, um, are the components that we need to make any technology, digital process automation technology. So this tale of two cities is a very important topic for me. It's about taking any customer from complexity to simplicity. So as you can see, if we are not using DPA technology, then we'll have various backend system talking to each other directly, right? There will not be any orchestrator, mechanism that ensures that this whatever communication is happening, between these systems is properly orchestrated, right? No one will know where a transaction is, stuck. No one will know where the process is stuck, right? So really complex environment, and that's why most of the organization failed to meet required speed or achieve required speed, and they also fail to meet their time to market targets. There will be several execution gaps. There will be poor visibility. There will be silos, and decision making in general will be very difficult if we are not using DPA technology. So how does this DPA technology transform it? Uh, it transforms by doing very simple thing. It sits, as you can see in this slide, a Pega sits as a orchestration layer on the top of all these backend systems. It also sits as a layer that various users and system can interact with on the front end side. So a request goes to Pega layer or a DPA layer, and that layer will essentially decompose, right, a request coming in into various tasks, and it will orchestrate, it will assign and orchestrate these tasks, right, from the perspective of various backend systems. So the benefit of doing this is it makes the whole system very agile. It leads to automation of decisions. As you all know, decision not made on time is not is like justice not done. So making any decisions on time is important, and that's the main benefit of DPA technology. And there will be, of course, clear control and hands off between various actors and systems. It's very important that when you buy DPA solution, right, you don't use it like any other solution, right? You don't make it, another link in your technology chain. If you do that, it will lead to same challenges you would otherwise have, right, while using old technologies like Java, .NET, right, mainframe, or any COTS product as we call it, right, essentially the commercial off-the-shelf products, right. So it's very important to avoid that. Um, on the left hand side, you can see the right way of implementing DPA solution. We call it center out model. So your DPA solution sits at the center of all the interactions within your organization. So elaborating on center out approach, um, as we discussed in previous slide, on previous slide also, right? If we focus only on front end, right, then what will happen is we'll end up creating disconnected customer experience, right? For every channel, there will be a different implementation, which will result in a wastage of time and money, and your business logic will be duplicated into 10 different channels. If we don't do that, and if we take an approach where we focus on building our backend first, then what happens is our projects become very expensive. They will have very lengthy implementation cycle, and they will be very product centric rather than focusing on customer outcome. And that is why using the center out approach is very important. We have to start with the customer journey. It doesn't matter which all technologies are utilized, right, to fulfill that customer journey. uh, we should let DPA technology sit as a cover, or we also call it a wrap and approach. uh, so DPA covers all these technologies, right? DPA interacts with all these technologies, and what customer sees is a consistent implementation of their journeys. So who is really using DPA? The answer is very simple. Every company that sits in top Fortune 500 ranking, right, or even top 2000 ranking is using DPA. And calling out, I have called out 5 examples here, but there are many more. So the first example is essentially e-commerce solution provider. This is essentially eBay company, a subsidiary of eBay. They wanted to implement fraud detection and implementation system, and they decided to go with DPA Tech. So after implementation, they are handling more than 400 million orders per year for the customer, and all those orders are going through DPA technology. Then comes a very large network equipment manufacturer. If you are using internet, it is highly likely, or in fact it's impossible that it's impossible for your internet connection requests to get processed without going through some component from this company. So they have used DPA for their customer service. Then comes food giant. If you have celebrated birthdays, and if you have given chocolates on anyone's birthday, it's highly likely that those chocolates were manufactured by this company. So again, for implementing their customer service system, they ended up using DPA. They had built a world's first cloud-based customer service solution, and that solution is used for serving customers in 100 different countries, and customers who talk 57 different languages. So really exciting case study. Then comes a global financial company. So they are using digital process technology, digital process automation technology for identifying risks associated with any investment or any loan they might be giving. So business worth $3 trillion is being processed, if you will, through this system. And there is also an insurance company. They are using DPA for processing any claims which are coming to them from their customer. So these are just a few examples. Recently, Australian government decided to leverage DPA technology for processing social welfare payments. So essentially, we are talking about social welfare payment that will be made to every citizen in Australia, depending on citizens' eligibility. So, if we were to summarize what DPA is, I would like to use the analogy of Google Maps. I keep on saying that any digital process automation technology is essentially like a Google Maps for any customer, or process implementation journey. It essentially tells you where you are in the process. It tells you where to go next. It provides you guided path to go there, like Google Maps would do. And with the advent of robotic automation technology, it also self drives that process journey for you, right? Essentially, human doesn't have to do anything. They have to just delegate it to robots, and robots will execute that process as much as possible. And while doing all of this, it ensures that you have a great experience, because ultimately, if a company cannot provide good customer experience, that customer will go to someone else. So so that's the Google Maps analogy. And to make all of this happen, we need a great team, and that's where students like you, right, who are learning new technologies in college, right, learning the theory behind these technologies in college will come handy. So so no car can be the first car in any race unless there is a good driver driving that car. And that's where you students will really come handy, right? um, and companies like Infosys is always looking for students like you. It was, I think, last year, some of us went to Chitkara University, right, as a part of this PEGA University Access Program, and we ended up selecting about 60 odd students from there, right. The students had already participated in PEGA program. So PEGA came to university, and they ran this training program, and at the end of training, the students were certified as certified system architect, and if I remember right, they also did their certified senior system architect program. So they were industry ready even before stepping out of their colleges, and colleges and companies went to them to book their time, right, book their uh, bandwidth for coming down to companies and helping them implement large digital process automation programs. So you may find this very relevant. So before we close, I just wanted to end this session with 5 mantras I would like to share with you. So what are these mantras? Very simple. I mean, the same thing we have been talking about for last 1 hour or so. So right from AI to BPM to machine learning to RPA to DPA are the mantras for success in corporate world. But I have just given it a different meaning. So so starting with AI, what does AI mean in this particular context? So what AI means for me is, to ensure that you come up with audacious ideas all the time. Doesn't matter whether your idea is good or bad, that can be decided later. But if you have an idea, ensure that you go ahead and share that idea with your colleagues, your managers, your customers, or in any other forum, right, outside your company, right, if it falls under a public domain. So ensure that you have idea and you share those. The second mantra I have is BPM. Um, uh, it is about believing in your personal methods. So when you go to any company, right, that company will already have established processes and framework. But it doesn't mean that just because of these processes were laid out, right, these processes are right all the time and we have to follow them blindly. If you see that there is a piece of process or there is a framework that was probably good in the past but isn't good anymore, please challenge, please go ahead and challenge, please believe in a personal method you might have worked out that you feel that will add better value. Go and talk to people and ensure that that process gets changed. The third mantra is ML. It usually means machine learning, but in this particular context, it would mean mining the landscape. So it's essentially about keeping your eyes and ears open and ensuring that you are constantly learning about happenings in your team, in your company, in your counterpart team from client side, and also the industry. Look for signals, right, because before storm comes it will send some signal. So the person who can detect this signal right before other people can will go distance, right. It's not about being the always about being the first in the race. Is sometimes is about not being the last in the race, right. So constantly keep on minding landscape. Look for both opportunities and threats. The next one is RPA. It's about reviving your past assets. So what I mean by that is when you have a new idea, don't necessarily think about building solution which is in alignment with that idea from scratch. It will take very long time, and that's where ensuring that you go to your company's solution library, the solutions which were built in the past, uh, and leveraging them, reviving them to implement your new ideas faster. If you try implementing everything from scratch, by the time you implement, that idea will be old. Someone might have already implemented it. So very important that you build upon existing assets, and be the leader. And the last but not the least is about DPA. Is about delivering profound actions. um, if you do previous four if you follow previous four mantras really well, but if those following those four mantras doesn't result into outcome, and doesn't result in, let's say, more revenue, better projects, better customer satisfaction for your company, no one will pay any attention. So it's important that while you are doing all previous four items, you are slowing down and converting those uh, converting whatever you have done into a piece, right, a logical let's say product that helps your customer, that helps your company. So with this we come to the end of this session. I once again thank Uttara Madam and her team for giving me this opportunity, the opportunity to connect with students, opportunity to connect with the people who are going to lay the foundation of our country and the world in general. When I say foundation, the next layer of foundation. um, so it has been a great experience for me. I'm looking forward to have another session, maybe on some other topic down the road. um, Really thank you for your time and patience. I am also providing you my coordinates. Except phone number, I have shared everything else. You can find my email. You can also find my LinkedIn link to my LinkedIn profile. Uh, Happy to connect with you all there, and looking forward to uh, crossing my path with you sometime down the road. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. Myself, Dr. Uttara Gupte, Associate Professor and Deputy Head of the Department of Computer Engineering and Faculty Coordinator of this 4-day webinar series, Extra Techie. I would like to thank our today's speaker, Mr. Bharat Verma, for opening new entrances in the knowledge area of digital process automation with his experienced words and guidelines. Today, on behalf of IEEE SSJCOE Student Branch and Department of Computer Engineering of Shivaji Rao S. Zundhai College of Engineering, I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to everyone who was the part of this 4 days webinar series, Extra Techie. We have arranged this 4-day webinar series Extra Techie. The motive was to help students not only to enhance their technical knowledge, but to get something extra by knowing the various fields of opportunity to develop their personality and developing their technical and interpersonal skills before stepping out as a professional. And most important is all this engagement keeping them safe at their homes. I believe we have surely accomplished this task. I hope you all enjoyed all the sessions here. More than 700 participants, including HODs, faculty members, UG and PG students, our alumni, and several professionals showed their interest by registering for Extra Techie. First of all, I thank all of them for showing faith on us. I thank from bottom of my heart to all our eminent speakers who made us inspired and guided without any expectations and conditions. I thank and appreciate efforts by Mrs. Ruta Pandit and Mr. Pankaj Bevhare for their expert sessions on networking skills for young adults and digital-based industry and digital marketing, which developed an interest among the participants and guided them to do what extra is required for building their career. I thank our alumnus, Mr. Pranav Phadke, for his very interesting hands-on demonstration on Amazon Alexa. I also thank my friend, Mr. Bharat Verma, who shared his technical knowledge and experience and guided us on digital process automation apart from his quite busy schedules. I am really thankful all these speakers for their patience and the meticulous support. They really motivated and highly impressed us. I sincerely thank our management, Dr. Shivaji Rao S. Zondhale, President of Samartha Samaj, and Mrs. Geeta Zondhale, who are our constant source of inspiration and support. I thank Principal Dr. J.W. Bakal sir and our Registrar F.C. Shejul sir for their encouragement and active support. I thank Professor Pramod Rodge, HOD Computer Engineering and IEEE Student Branch Counselor, and Mrs. Smita Lodkar, HOD of EXTC, for their guidance, support, and motivation throughout the program. I thank all HODs of all the departments, faculty members, students, and all the participants without whom this event was not at all possible. I cannot stop before thanking IEEE Student Branch members, Sanjot Dahale, Chairperson of IEEE, Akshit Bhangale, Vice Chairperson, Ms. Shruvi Pandey, Secretary, Siddhesh Maundekar, Treasurer, Ms. Saili Wagh, Akshay Navrekar, Sandesh Lamkhade, Vahas Kazi, Zainab Mister, Aniket Bagaitkar, and Hariom Deshpande, and all the other members whose tireless efforts and wholehearted support in the technical and other management activities truly made the event successful. I really appreciate their efforts. Today, I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude towards all who directly or indirectly helped us to make this event a grand success. We will look forward for the similar support and participation in our all upcoming event. Thank you once again. Thank you.